Welcome back, everybody, back to the video. Today we'll be showing you some brand new arena defenses you should be running inside of arena. Currently, also, I will say thank you for 4K subscribers. Hey, the amount of support I've been getting is crazy. And we haven't even hit 1 year mark yet on this channel. Wow-wee. But again, hopefully you enjoyed the video. There's a lot of new defenses in there, including Genesis Rasta as well. And let's get into it. Team number 1, it is going to be a team I showed in my last video. I think this team's still very, very good. It's really insane if you have the speed gear for it, and it pretty much works in Elo, right? So I'm going to say this right now. In terms of how to make a really good defense, either you're going to have to focus the cleavers, or focus trying to fight the turn 2 players. Honestly, trying to focus on trying to fight turn 2 players is kind of harder. Make something look cleavable, well then guess what, you brought in a cleaver and you can potentially just beat them, right? That's usually how I go about in terms of setting up a arena defense. Now for me personally, I do not care for my arena defense for obvious reasons. Whoever is in the top 3, people like to copy. So therefore, I don't want to put a really good defense because then people are going to start copying, right? So I just run a whatever defense, right? That's usually just how it goes. But again, preferably, if you focus towards cleavers, you should be able to get a higher defense rate, right? Because again, cleaver's going to go in, then they're going to win because it looks very, very cleavable, and then something happens, and then they lose. And then you got to win. And then even if they come back again and beat you the second time, well, guess what? You still got to win. So a win's a win. Can't really complain about that, right? So let's get into it. So, later the scales. This later scales, like I did mention in the last video, the other arena defenses video, she wants your fastest set in this specific comp, right? Having a really, really fast David Scales can go a long way, especially versus any ML Luna cleaver, right? Because the thing is, most of the time, if it's Luna, Frida, right? The typical Luna Frida stuff, Fridas are typically not 305. They're really not 305. Some people are a lot slower than that. So that's why I do think having anything higher than 300 related scales is very, very nice. Now, again, if there are people out there, like me included, that has a over 300 Frida for obvious reasons, such as this, right? So, again, having a very, very fast layer to scales does set you up quite nicely and can easily net you wins versus any Luna Frida cleaver, right? Tenebria is going to be the second unit, which you really, really want to fast gear as well. Now, she doesn't really need to be this fast, honestly. You can maybe drop her down to like 290 something with more effectiveness. But Lab Cube is a must-have. Again, if you don't know, Lab Cube is very, very good when it comes to RNG, all right? If you want to RNG somebody, this is going to be the way to maximize your RNG to win. Because of speed RNG, 20% chance, literally, there's a lot of stuff that can go wrong just having this Lab Cube exist. If this procs 2 turns in a row, you're pretty much going to cut. And then you pretty much went off of that, right? It's insane how this artifact really is. And I'm waiting for the day they power creep this. Because, bro, I like this artifact a lot. But it's strictly just for, like, arena. I mean, potentially Good War. But it's mostly for arena, right? But this is going to be a Tenebria build. You don't really need immunity on her. You just really need effectiveness and speed gear. Again, I highly recommend slowing her down quite a bit if you really want to and just throwing a lot more effectiveness. But again, that's really up to you. So, on to the next units, which is going to be Bystander Hwayoung and Setsuka. Bystander Hwayoung has been coming back in the ranks. She was labeled the worst character of the year, and look at her now. Man, oh man. But again, the build does not really matter when it comes to Bystander Hwayoung. I've seen some crazy builds. I've seen some like 23k HP Bystander Hwayoungs. And I'm like, okay, I guess. I mean, you could do that if you really want to, right? But again, it is up to you. This is my currently Bystander Hwayoung. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. As long as she exists there and does some good damage, you're good. All right? Again, you don't have to cover my build on my Bystander Hwayoung. This is just my build I have for her because I'm lazy with her. And honestly, my counter gear sucks. I'm saying that right now. It ain't the greatest. But again, you could go a lot more tankier if you really, really want to on Bystander Hwayoung. Next is going to be Setsuka. Setsuka is going to be on counter immunity, basically because of the Luna and all that good stuff, just in case. If you have her postal, you could run that as well. Just make sure with her own artifact. But again, I have each. I farmed Breach yesterday. I didn't get nothing. I'm trying to build a set for Repulsor right now and Reversal. It ain't looking the prettiest. But yeah, sets, I prefer immunity or Repulsor. You could do Destro and all that. You could also do a lot of other crazy stuff with this as well and make her high HP. You could go really like 30k Setsuka, if not more if you really want to. Again, but for this defense, preferably, I think you really kind of want a counter Repulsor DPS one. Not really a higher HP one, but it's up to you. It's up to you if you really want to do that. But that is going to be it for team number 1. Let's go into team number 2. Team number 2 is very, very similar to team number 1, but the only difference is that Genesis Wrath is here. Now, I will say this, I've lost quite a bit to this defense because of just RNG happening, right? So, let's go over here to Lady of the Scales. Lady of the Scales, I currently do have her on the fastest set. I think this is perfectly fine in this defense as well, if you really want to run it. If not, you could run like a 220 Proof of Valor if you really want to, all right? You don't need to run this 305. You can switch this over to like a 220. 220, Proof of Valor, 20k HP, really tanky. You could do that if you really want to. Because she's just here to aid support, right? She's not here to really cheese anybody. But again, you could run this fast one if you really want to. Or go ahead and just run the slower version of Lady of the Scales and just run a higher HP Proof of Valor one, right? Because again, she's not the highlight of this defense. It is going to be these two right here, Bystander Hwa-Young and Genesis Wrath. So, Genesis Wrath, in my Celine videos, or just my Celine comp in general, right, the Celine Cleave, this character, if he counters at a certain point where I'm trying to kill Lady of the Scales, if he counters, and you are proccing, of course, when you are killing Lady of the Scales, you are proccing Bystander Hwa-Young's passive. And if her passive lands on your Celine, while the Genesis Wrath counters your Celine, well, guess what? You have a dead Celine, and you lost the fight just like that. It's actually kind of disgusting how much I've lost to an Elberus Wrath. Honestly, it's maybe like 5 times. But still, it is kind of crazy how a Elberus can make that much of a difference. Now, you could run them on counter set as well. But again, I don't really have the gear for this. So counter, HP set, preferably, with the Elberus, can be a big old problem when it comes to cleavers as well. Because one counter, especially since most of the save time I use Celine, and I see a lot of people using Celine now too, it is good. One counter can pretty much change the entire match. And on top of that, not only if he counters, he also does gain CR with his S1, which does boost him up. And it's a lot of CR. 25% is no joke, right? 4 counters is 100% CR. Even if he counters twice, that is 50% CR. And if he can rip off that S2 into S3, that's kind of disgusting, right? So overall, the main 2 prize of this defense is going to be Bystander Hwa-Young and the Genesis Wrath. Again, you don't need to run a fast lady. It's up to you if you really want to. But if you're not going to run a fast lady, run a tanky Lady of the Scales. Proof of Valor, 20k HP, like I did mention. Those 2, because again, they just trying to kill Lady of the Scales. And if they kill her with a cleave, well, guess what? These 2 could potentially win it out. Again, Setsuka is just going to be there for the RNG, 30%. 20% evasion? No, 30% evasion for the entire team. She's just there for RNG, right? That's really about it. But that's pretty much it for this defense. Again, it's a pretty straightforward defense, but it's actually kind of annoying if RNG actually goes their way. Which, let's be realistic here, defense RNG, they're always going to have better RNG than you. That's just how it is, right? But on to team number 3. Defense number 3 is going to have Renak, Lady of the Scales, Yoha, and Setsuka. Now let's go here and look at it. Now Yoha is just going to be here on full HP. Holy sec. Now in terms of EE, you can run either one. You can either run the reset cooldowns, or you could run the reflect more 20% damage. You could do either one, but the reset S3 can kind of be a problem if they cannot kill it. Because each reset, it's going to reset her S3, and she can just literally wipe an entire team like this. It's actually kind of disgusting how it really works. Bro, she's kind of crazy, you know. She's actually really good. Now, I wish she had a better skin, because I do not like this base Yoha at all whatsoever. Now, Lady of the Scales is going to be the slower build, which I did mention. I'll probably include it up in the other build as well. But again, this is going to be the slower Lady of the Scales build I was talking about. Don't need much on her. Again, you go more bulky if you really want. You can go a lot more ER if you really want. It's just up to you in terms of preference, but this is just going to be like around the baseline in terms of what's really good in my opinion, right? So, Proof of Valor, 24k HP, 1.6k defense at that point, and then now on to the Renak. Renak is, well, guess what? It's not going to be a typical 300 speed Renak. It's actually going to be a 21k Renak with some effectiveness. Now, the main gimmick of this comp is to basically deter the Lionheart, Elvira offense comps, auto comps that I uploaded recently. Just been a very, very popular comp because, again, you see Setsuka, you see Renak, you see Yoha, you model, you know, you see them like, well, you know what? you know what? Let's go ahead and bring our good old girl, Elvira and Lionheart, because guess what? How are they going to beat that? Right? The Earth has to hit ice, so they're going to go beat up Elvira, and guess what? They can't really strip her, so boom, there you go. But, no. Renok goes. Renok is going to rip the S2. It is going to it's going to ignore ER, right? Lower the HP by 20%, and then you can pair that 20% and make sure to give your Setsuka as much HP as possible, right? Let me go ahead and show you. So how much HP can I actually get in this situation? So let's say I had, hypothetically, a lot of HP here. Let me just throw on this for purposes. So 26k HP. That looks not too bad, right? Can I squeeze any more HP anywhere else? I don't think I can. Again, my gear ain't the hottest for this. Let's do this. HP. Nah, no flat HP. But yeah, hopefully you get the gist of it. Again, as much HP as you possibly can on Setsuka. 30k, 29k, somewhere around that ballpark will be very, very nice. Because again, let's say Elvira's 30k. You reduce it by 20%, well then guess what? You should be able to strip technically with Setsuka's S3, because guess what? It ignores ER if you have more HP. So overall, again, it's a pretty good defense as well. You don't even need that much of a fast. There's literally no speed in here. I mean, 271 Renok, let's be realistic, that's pretty easy to build. But again, when it comes to the Renok, you could also go a lot more effectiveness if you really want to than this, right? You could go slower if you really want to. And just make sure a little bit more tankier with a lot more effectiveness if you really want to, just in case you want a second line of RNG that you could potentially strip the Elvira with just your Renok, which would be kind of annoying, because I've had that happen to me before where I've seen a Renok strip my Elvira, and I'm like, okay, people are bringing out all the cheeses out here, right? But again, it's actually a very, very good defense as well that I highly do recommend. And again, doesn't really need that much fast of a speed gear. It really doesn't, right? 271, the fastest unit on the team? Come on. But on to the next defense. And the last defense is just going to be a Renok, Tenebria, Later Scales, and BBK. Now, this is a pretty comp that's been here and there throughout the last couple weeks or so. But let's get into it. Now, this time it is going to be a very, very fast Renok. Again, I don't have my fastest gear on her, but you could throw the fastest gear on her if you really want to. But this time, make sure to go ahead and run SAS. So, again, normally, a lot of people have been trying to Luna, Blue Flan, Vildred, a lot of these Renoks, because honestly, a lot of these Renoks aren't that fast. Again, there's maybe a handful of 320 plus Renoks up here, right? Now, again, if you are lower league, it may be different. You probably have all the speed demons down there sitting in champion, right? AFK. But up here in Legend, when people actually push up here, right? There's not that many fast Renoks. So most of the time, you can just Luna Vildred them. But if they were to do that, guess what? Secret Art Sword Storm is going to be very, very good with her. She's very, very good. Trust me, it's very insane. SAS 24% CR push will beat out a Frida 20% CR push. Again, disgusting how that actually works, right? Next, it is going to be BBK. Now, BBK, you could do whatever build, but I do really recommend Shepherds. I recommend Shepherds for one reason being is that it is strictly to fight off against any Fire Litica cleaves. Because if the Fire Litica cleaver does technically miss on the BBK, it will be a problem. Because then the CDOM will not push up, and then therefore, you will be able to cut with the Lady of Scales, right? Next, it is going to be Tenebria. Tenebria, since now we do have a very, very fast Renok, a pretty much 290 high effectiveness with Umbra Keystone. This is going to be really recommended. Renok takes 2 turns, therefore, Witches of the Mirror Tenebria will gain, 20% CR? That's kind of crazy. Right? And again, if you could get a lot more effectiveness than I can, all power to you, right? Because again, very, very disgusting combination of Renok into Witch of the Mirror Tenebria, especially if you can do a really, really high effectiveness. You could tone down her speed a little bit and go Omega effectiveness, but just be careful, right? Just be careful. And then lastly, Later Scales is just going to be the same old Later Scales I've shown throughout the video, which is going to be the fast build, not the slower build. It's going to be the fast build. In terms of Later Scales, if you could do 290, that'd be ideal. But again, the same build I have in here is going to be around the 305 speed one, right? Because of, again, if Fire Litica misses on the BBK, CDOM should not cut because of Later Scales getting the CR push automatically before the restrict does apply from Fire Litica. But that's pretty much it. That's going to be all the defenses I'm showing today. Other than that, though, thanks for watching the video. Hope you have a good day, and peace out.